And it's been another teacher talk sessions tonight, and it's going to be a really fantastic session like others. This is my 18th teacher talk sessions, and today I have a very special guest. Yes, I have a very special guest from England. Yes, and her name is Lana Betts, and she is a director at Wright English and a language trainer over there. And it's going to be a really great session. And she's here. I'm waiting for her.
Hello.
Yes, cheater. Hello, Lana.
Hi. I had a little trouble joining. Sorry, it kept saying that it's finished.
It's okay, no problem. It's good to see you here. And good
Yeah,
evening.
you too.
Yeah, it's
good evening.
And
I have my coffee. I'm ready to go.
My coffee too here, as you see.
Excellent. We're sorted.
Prepared. And hello. And by the way, before start the lesson, I would like to really thank you that you accept my invitation, even if you are a little bit ill. I know that you are a little bit ill. But thank you very much for you didn't say no and join this session. And
yeah, just as long as everybody who's watching is okay with me coughing a little bit and making gross noises. I'm sorry, but I can't help it.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It's not. I think it's not gonna be a problem. So thank you very much, Lana. And as so, how is weather in England? That's just like, let me start our conversation like this.
Very dark. I don't know. To be honest with you, it just suddenly got really cold. We've just dropped about 15 degrees in 2 days. It's pretty cold now, but I kind of like it. It's been hot for ages, and now it's nice to snuggle up in a huge blanket and get covered in cats and watch TV. It's nice. How's the weather there?
Yeah, and here it's actually the weather is really nice, but sometimes it gets cloudy, but generally it's so far so good. But of course, it's going to be colder. As we are going to do kind of, the season's changing, and so it's going to be a colder now. Like that.
I like living somewhere where it changes a bit.
Yeah. All right, Lana. Are you ready? Can we start?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Lana, can you tell us about yourself, please?
I'm not the most interesting person in the world. I am an English woman who lives in Cambridgeshire. Welcome to my office. This is where the madness happens. I run my own business and I teach English, and I love a lot of things that adults shouldn't love, like Pokemon and arts and crafts and cats and all sorts of things that are just fun and happy and colourful. It doesn't all have to be serious. What else would you like to know about me?
Okay, so actually that's all. You told.
That's good enough.
Yeah, you said. Yeah, that's good enough to know you. No problem. Okay, so my next question is about your experiences in teaching. Can you tell us about your experiences in teaching?
Yeah,
English,
so I guess if we start off when I started, I did it for free as a teenager because I was just really good at English literature and English language, and I saw that some of the kids that were like a year or 2 years younger than me were having real trouble with their exams, and I kind of felt bad for them, and I just stayed after school for a while to help them with their grades, and they all did better. It was nice. It was nice helping people. And then when I was 23, I moved to Germany and I started teaching English over there. I taught for a bunch of different companies. And I taught some really big companies like HSBC or Bayer or Siemens or Vodafone.
Wow.
ThyssenKrupp, if you're German, you might know them. And
The big companies.
also the German government for a bit, which was a little bit intimidating because they did these really big, like multi-million euro deals, and
Ooh.
I felt very small being involved in that, and I was just like, just don't make me do anything to do with money. I just want to teach the English, okay? Just don't blame me if anything goes wrong. But like, I also really enjoyed working for a company called Wall Street. We had a really small school, and it had its own sort of special environment, and it was just lovely. And I met actually some of my best friends there were my students. I came into work on my day off because we had coffee and cake that day, sort of just to meet people. And I thought, oh, I'm bored at home and it's kind of fun at work, so I just went in anyway. And I met one of my closest friends that day just because I decided to come into work. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and
really.
Like I say to everybody, like, as long as I'm helping, I don't really care how.
Yeah, it's really nice. I see. Yeah, okay. Is that all about your teaching experiences? I think that's it.
Pretty much. Well, obviously, I've started my company now, which started this year, and it's a baby. But I'm using all of the experience I have from teaching before, and also my master's in psychology, which helps me to understand how, you know, the physiology of the brain works, how people learn, and the differences between people, and how to help them get the most out of their learning. And that's it. That's everything.
Wonderful. So my next question is, what was your favorite moment or experience in your own education?
So does this have to be about English, or can it be about anything at all?
No, it can be. It's not about English. General. You can think about the general. It shouldn't be about English.
It's kind of hard for me to pull out like a really specific moment, but I remember we all have kind of teachers that are just, meh, I'm not particularly interested in that topic, and that person doesn't really speak to me. But all the teachers that I really liked, it wasn't necessarily like that we had a personality match or something. It's that they were really passionate about what they were teaching, and that they could listen to my endless questions and keep answering them. Because I was not the easiest person to teach. Because if I want to know something, I want to know everything, and I want to know it all now. And I didn't care about the other children. They could just wait their turn. So I was a nightmare child, absolute nightmare. So the teachers I liked were the ones that were like, they had a passion for what they did, and you could tell when they were talking and sharing with you that they really loved what they were doing. So is infectious. I was like, oh, I want to get in there and learn that too. And they liked that I was interested and asked questions. They didn't want that curious child to just shut up and go away because they were taking up too much time. So I liked it.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I guess,
wonderful.
Yeah, someone that really comes to mind is Mr. Nyman, who, anybody who knows that guy, he's great. He taught history at my school, and he brought some really dark and scary and horrible topics, and it's not like he made them fun, but he made them understandable. So we're talking about war and really terrible things happening to people. It's so far out of the experience of a 12-year-old English person's experience. We've not been through that in my generation. It's not happened to us. But he brought it to us in a way where we could really, it was okay to ask questions, and it was okay to make mistakes. And we kind of acted out Parliament in our classroom, and we represented how many people were like in each party in Germany at the time with desks, and how many people were on them. And he would go like, okay, it's 2 years later now, so now this section is this party. You're bigger now. And he's like, so how do you guys feel about that? Not so insignificant now, huh? And it's so creative the way he brought stuff to us. I could see it. It wasn't just all theoretical. And I had real trouble reading and writing when I was little. And actually, until I was like 12.
I see that.
I am proof but you can get better no matter how bad you are when you start. And he let me do my essays on a cassette tape. He let me record it, just me speaking.
Sure.
They were my essays, and I handed them in. It's instant A. I couldn't write it, but I could say it. So, great teacher. Really, really modern in his approach, actually. I'm showing my age a bit with the cassette tape, aren't I?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's very nice to do that. Yeah, good. Okay, and so I think, is that all the memory that you have?
I would say. Oh! I have one more. And I had an English teacher who taught English literature, and every other student hated him because he was not hated him, but didn't like learning with him because he was in his late 70s. And he would just sit down and read us this story. And
old-fashioned one.
They were really bored. Yes, but I loved it because it was like, I imagined sitting in front of a fire with my granddad and him just telling me stories on a winter night. And I was like, this is brilliant. I'd pay for this.
Yeah, nice. It's very nice. It's nice. The nice teacher. Okay, so can I move my next question?
You can. Anytime you like.
Okay, so it's about this one. Can you tell us about your current business and what kind of things you are doing there? And I have also another question about this, but first this.
Okay, so I've started a company, as I said, called Wright English. It's a baby. It's my baby. And
wonderful.
I specialize in one-to-one tuition with people. I mainly do business English, general English, and sort of support for school tutoring is what I call it. And anyone in full-time education gets a cheaper rate because you can't afford it because you're studying. And yeah, and I try and go along with their curriculum with them and help them through what they're learning at school. I'm also getting myself prepped and ready to teach IELTS preparation, and I'm considering teacher training in the future, possibly.
Yeah, probably. You go for it. You can do it. Yeah, okay.
What was your second question?
Yeah, my question is about like what kind of things you are doing there, but you have already told about it.
Oh, sorry.
I have this one. What is the I mean, what is the most important thing to you when you are teaching your let's say students or clients, maybe?
Really, it's two things. It's got to be helping my client. So I won't name names, but I have worked for companies where they've said to me, as long as the teacher comes home alive and there are no complaints, we don't care. It's not me. And they also said to me, what grades are you going to give them from their tests? And I said, well, you know, I need to sit down and think about what they've got because I haven't looked through it. And they said, just give them 1 mark higher. You know? So the two things that are important for me are transparency, so that you know how I feel about what, as a client, your progress, and you can always talk to me about where you are and where you want to go and how things are. And you should always be improving. And if at any point you or I as a client think that this is not, it's not working and things aren't improving, then it's time for you to look for a different teacher, because you should always be getting something really valuable from your lesson.
I see. Okay, great, wonderful. That's the things important for you. Great.
And having fun.
Yeah, of course, fun is every time. Fun is the most important thing. Yes.
Absolutely, I think so. Life is too short.
Yeah. And so my other question is really nice question. You will like this question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of working in England?
So it's a bit different for me as a native English speaker in England. I'm probably going to have slightly different answers.
Probably you all say the positive sides, not the negative sides.
Positive side, I'm native, so it's really easy for me. I already speak the language. I mean, I loved living in Germany. I really did, and I had the time of my life there. But I wanted to come back home, you know, and live closer to my family and that kind of thing, and look for a new phase of my life. But I think the positives are that it's easy for me. I have control of my own company. I can decide where I go, what I want to do. And it all being in my native language makes it just so much easier for me to organize all the legal side of things, because there's a lot of legality to starting your own business. The disadvantages are, if you live in a country where the native language is English, how many students are you going to get in your own country?
Yeah,
Not
I think
many.
you're not many. You are right.
No, I mean, obviously I do have students that are living in England, quite a few actually. A lot of mothers have, you know, moved over and their children are starting school and they just want a little boost with their kids to bring them up to speed with English. And some people, like we have a lot of people who work in the NHS who are from other countries, and they're amazing doctors and nurses, but maybe they want to socialize in English too. Maybe they want to practice that side of their English. So I can do that. But yeah, I have to go like all around the world looking for students. So I have I've just got a new student who lives in Iraq, who's a really lovely chap, and we've had a few lessons together. I've met people in Moldova, Somalia, all over the place. So, I mean, it's kind of nice as well, but it's more complicated on the money and the legal side of things.
Yeah, I see. It's these are the some, but they are just, you know, the small disadvantages, kind of.
Oh, it's not really a major
It can be handleable. All right.
Well, I mean, and as the whole world knows about England, our weather sucks, so that's the other disadvantage.
Yeah, okay. That's it. All right. So, thank you, Lana. And my other question is about what is your opinion about distant learning?
I do all of mine distance learning. Even if you live in the same village as me, we're learning online because that's how I teach. But I think it can be a really good thing if you take the time to learn as a teacher how to use it to its real advantages. Like if you learn how to use the whiteboard online, that means you can keep a permanent note of everything that you've all doodled together, and you can exchange pictures, look at articles. If I think about the times when I prepared for a lesson and I would sit down with my students, even when there were 10 students and one teacher, we had a really limited supply of materials that we had between us. And if we ever wanted to go off script, try something a bit different, it had to be something we created there and then in the moment, which you can still do if you're working online. But with the internet, you've got everything, haven't you, really? You can just say, all right, should we look for an exercise on that? You can change your plan in the last minute if you feel comfortable doing it, and go together and find stuff that's appropriate to whatever's come up in your life. It's super, super flexible.
Yeah, you're right.
I think as a teacher, what can be difficult though is that it feels less personal to the student. I think you have to try a little bit harder to make that connection. Obviously, once you get to know them after a few lessons, you're a person to them. But I think when it's just an email and you're just organizing when you're going to meet, it's easier to cancel on someone that you don't know because you don't have any feelings about them yet. So that makes things a little bit different.
Yeah, I see. Okay. So, how is as you know that the whole world are in a big danger because of COVID-19 things. So we are all afraid about it. So how is the situation with COVID-19 has changed in teaching, and what instruments can teacher use?
One of the things I've noticed, not for me, but for other teachers who teach traditional classes where they've got sort of 30 children or 30 university students, is that they've been finding that a lot of their students have turned their cameras off when they're speaking to them. And they found that they're kind of losing a little bit of motivation teaching people because they can't see their faces, they can't see their reactions. So they're just teaching to a blank screen. And it's a bit like sort of shouting into the night and no one listening. You start to feel ever so slightly crazy and you don't know whether you're helping. And without seeing someone's facial expression, you can't tell if maybe they don't understand, but they're too shy to say anything, or there's a million things that can be going on. And if you can't see someone's face, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
And quite a few of my students have internet connection issues, and we have to turn their camera off so they can hear me, and so I can hear them. And I just say to them, you know, I can't see you smiling, so you're going to have to make noises. I can't tell if you're enjoying this or not. If I'm making jokes and they're not funny, please tell me.
Yeah, make some noise too. Yeah.
Exactly. Is enough. But yeah, anything less than that, and I'm really lost. So you have to have a lot more confidence in yourself to put yourself out there when you can't see the reaction that you're going to get from the other side. The other thing is, like I was saying before, we've been kind of forced into a situation where we've had to become very creative.
Yes.
And that's a really good thing. A really, really good thing, because it's opened up the possibility for people to kind of realize that it doesn't all have to be in person. In the future, it would be good when we go back to in-person teaching and everything's safe again. But now we have learned through necessity that we can do it another way. Which, if you think about it, and you're a student who wants to learn, millions of teachers all around the world have just realized that they can teach you wherever you are. So you've got all that choice. Exactly. So we're going to have to compete with one another and get better at our jobs. And we're going to have to educate ourselves, and we're going to have to really get up to speed, because we're all looking for the same clients. It's not the same as, yeah, they're in my village, they're in my city. There's 10 teachers here, there's enough for us. Now it's the whole world. And I think that's kind of exciting, because now there's a reason to get better. And I think the chances of a teacher just getting by because I'm the only one in this town, so no one's going to know I'm rubbish, hopefully that won't happen anymore, because people will just go, well, do you know what? There's these guys on the internet that look pretty good, and they cost about the same as you, so I'm going to go get a free lesson with them and see how they are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go to. You're right.
Competition is good.
I see. Okay, so my other question is about, like, actually, as a Wright English, as a company, do you provide, you know, let me ask you like this: what kind of support do you provide for the teachers in this period, or do you do this, or do you provide different things for students or your clients or the teachers?
I guess for me, it's not really going to be any different, because my model is the same now as it will be when COVID-19, God willing, finishes, and we're all vaccinated and we can all go jump in a swimming pool together. I don't think things are going to change for me. Apart from anything else, I just love living on my own in the country with cats, and I don't want to go out and... I'm too old, man. I don't want to go out anymore.
Yeah, that's the best thing that's for you, I think, right now.
Yes, it's so peaceful and quiet here, and I've done my time of jumping on 6 trains in a day and racing off to all of these high pressure environments. I've done my time. Now I'm maybe a little bit early, but I'm like mentally retiring, and I'm quieting down into my hole in the country where I'm by myself. But one of the reasons I was thinking about offering teacher training is that I think people can use support at the moment, because it is difficult to get training. There are online courses. I mean, I take them as well, but they tend to just be like a list of information, then a little interactive quiz at the end. I don't know how much you can get out of that. I think there's a lot of value to really being able to ask a direct question to another teacher and say, how would you do this? I find this difficult.
Yes.
What advice could you give me? What have you done that's worked? You can't ask a textbook that. So that's one of the reasons I'm thinking about doing teacher development activities myself. I will be doing a webinar on creative writing with SR Teaching and Learning within the next month-ish. We haven't decided when that is yet. And for students and parents of students and businesses and everyone, really, I'm on the end of an email.
Nice.
If anybody wants any kind of support, I'm there. So
I see. Great. Wonderful. Yeah. And of course, they will ask for the support, especially these days. I think most of them they need this
Yeah,
support.
people do,
Definitely.
you know, and that's
Sure.
fine. I've asked for a lot of support from people, and they've been kind enough to give it to me, so it's only fair that I give it back.
I see. Okay. So, Lana, what kind of activities can you suggest to the teachers to use with their students in this period?
At the risk of sounding like someone who's just saying the same thing over and over again, do something fun. Everyone's miserable at the moment. Even your high-flying executive might want to have a little bit of a laugh at the moment because life just got super stressful, and I think people might enjoy having a bit of a relax and a laugh, de-stress, and
Yeah.
you can't learn if you're stressed. Activities, I would say, games. So if you're going to learn the present perfect, for example, why not play Have You Ever, which is an English game that kids play in the playground, and you're trying to catch other people out by saying, have you ever done this, which practices the present perfect, conjugating your verbs, and you're only allowed to ask questions of other people if you've done it yourself. So have you ever climbed a mountain? And that means I have climbed a mountain, and I'm trying to find out who else has climbed a mountain. Now, obviously you could go proper rude with this, don't. But yeah, just it's a little bit of fun. It's a really good way to get to know people, and it's really valuable practice for the present perfect tense, as an example.
Yeah.
And it's not just fill out this gap fill. It's interactive. You can make it funny, and I would say you probably learn better from that because you remember things that make you laugh.
Yeah. Sorry?
Sorry, my small furry colleague is shouting at me, so if you hear lots of meowing, it's because my cat is not happy with me being at work at this time in the evening.
So also your cat doesn't want you to work right now, I think.
No, it's free time, and he's very interested in my personal well-being, so he tells me loudly.
I see. Okay. So like and the most you suggest activities that really need the interaction to interact with each other.
Yes.
You are suggesting this.
And it doesn't have to be face-to-face.
Yeah.
I think what we normally do in a classroom is we encourage people to get up and move around because a lot of English teaching relies on reading, writing, paper, sitting. But we kind of forget that there are kinesthetic learners who learn best through movement, through muscle, literally muscle memory. So in a traditional classroom, I would encourage people to get up and move around. At the moment, that's really difficult. So you're going to have to sit down and really think about where people can move, how they can mix. Do it outside, maybe on a good day. Do it outside. I mean, no one's going to mind if you go out into the playing field and scream English at one another from a distance. It's still English, and it will be very memorable. So why not do it? And all the things I learned from someone doing something really crazy with me as a kid. And they're the things that really stuck in my mind. So, I mean, not everyone's a teacher like me where they don't mind looking like a complete idiot every day, but that's my method anyway, and it works for me.
No, they're nice activities, so why not? We can try it. If we have a chance to do that, we can all try.
But if you feel really uncomfortable doing it, I think people are going to notice. So make sure it's something that you don't mind doing. Otherwise, all the students will just feel sorry for you.
Like you are in big trouble to doing that one. Okay.
Like, oh no, I feel bad that we did that because she looks really uncomfortable.
Okay. So my another question is like, what do you think about teachers' professional development, and what can teachers do for their professional development during this period?
I guess everyone's kind of got a different situation at the moment. For me, I'm trying to use those hours between lessons to go and improve like my IELTS teaching and my teacher training and things like that, and make sure that I'm up to scratch. I don't really know what the situation is for people who do traditional face-to-face teaching, but I'm guessing there are going to be times when, for example, your class is on lockdown. Someone in your class has been sick and you have to go home. And then you'll be working from home, presumably, or maybe you won't be working. I don't know. It depends on the institution. And it's easy to just go, "Ooh, week off for me," because teaching is really stressful. But it's a really good opportunity to take to just say, like, I'm getting paid right now to just learn. So just take a few hours and go out and find something. And there is so much out there that's free, even, that you don't have to sign up for, don't have to pay for. The British Council offer free webinars every month on how to teach like really advanced IELTS preparation, and they are spectacular, and they're completely free. And I would really recommend that people reach out to find those resources and take advantage of it, because I don't think your traditional teacher has the time to do much development. Not that they don't want to, they are tired, you know, they're in school all day long, then they come home, then they mark. The only time they get is in the summer, and I think in the summer maybe they want to have a life, so there's quite a limited amount of time for them to develop, really.
Yeah, no time for PD.
Yeah, so CPD, you kind of pick it up when you can find it, and it's so tempting to just go for a walk or eat nachos, but, you know, maybe go for a walk and learn, and then the next time eat nachos and learn. Just try and put in a little bit, like spread it out. Do relax, look after yourself, but I think the worst situation you can end up in is where you just go, "Oh, I've learned enough now, that's fine." I don't think many modern teachers do that, but I do remember as a child, many, many years ago, that there were teachers who would just say, "Oh, I've learned now, it's your turn." I had a different history teacher. I came into her class and she put, okay, super young people won't know what this is, but an overhead projector slide, she put it up on the wall, and it was just a copy of our textbook, and she said, "Write that down." And
Wonderful.
I thought, is this the 1940s? Like, why am I here? I could read this at home. I'm 17. Why are we doing this? Yeah, so she is obviously an example of somebody who just didn't care, had decided she didn't need to get any better, and it was my job to learn, so what was she there for? I don't know. Yeah, the less we have of that, the better. And if you know that your teacher, for whatever, is going on a professional development thing, like they're going to on a course, or they're networking at organization meetings, or they're going to, oh, there's so many things that teachers can sign up for. That means that your teacher cares enough to keep getting better, and that's a really good sign. Let them go.
Yeah, of course, let them go, as you said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, Lana. So, thank you for your
You're
answer.
very welcome.
And my other question is this. This is very difficult question. What do you think about the future of education?
That is a difficult question because I don't know.
That's why
but I do think COVID's really going to change stuff. Like I said, there's more competition now because people have realized it's not just about who's geographically close to you now. It's, I'll pick someone who fits my learning style. So in a way, like, that's great. Great for students. It makes our jobs a little harder. We have to work a little bit harder, but that's good for us. We'll become better teachers. I welcome us using technology more in the future. I don't think we're going to move to doing this as a normal thing. I always think that online is going to be secondary to face-to-face because we're animals, you know, we're people. We like contact. We want to see, we want to see body language. We want to get to know people. And there is something in meeting someone face-to-face that you just can't replicate online. No matter how hard I try and how many jokes I tell, I can never do that. So this is never going to be the main way that people learn. I think, especially as soon as we've all got vaccines and we're all going back to cinemas and stuff, we're going to really want that contact with people. We're going to be so desperate to hang out with anyone, even your English teacher. Like,
Yeah.
you'd be like, yeah, whatever, let's go on a date. I don't care. I just want to spend time with you. How do I think things will change in the future? I don't think people are going to care about handwriting much, do you? No,
Yeah.
I have virtually unreadable handwriting and nobody cares because nobody uses it anymore. I think we should be using computers for exams with no internet connection, so you can't cheat. But everything I have done in my career since I was 23 has been done on a computer. So why
Yes.
am I writing my exams by hand? We are testing something that's irrelevant to what I actually do. And I think the closer we move towards testing what we actually need to be good at, the better. Because there's a lot of people who get unfairly bad marks because they've got crap handwriting or they can't spell very well, where in this day and age, it actually isn't that important. It just isn't. I mean, I love English and I hate it when it gets all messed up because I'm a control freak and I want it to be perfect. But realistically, it actually doesn't matter if somebody can't spell because they've got spell check. So they just click the button, it gets fixed. So that's the standard we should be working towards now.
Yeah, exactly. You say right. Yeah. You say right. I agree. Okay, so Lana, my other question is, what is your motto?
In life in general, I'm not. Yeah, I have two.
Okay, so go for it. Two.
I'll be boring people that have seen my last interview, but I have two, and that is, if you're going through hell, for God's sake, keep going. Because if you're going through hell and you stop in hell, that doesn't make a great deal of sense. Keep going, no matter how hard it is, because there is another side, and once you get out of it, you can look back on it. You can freak out when you get to the other side, but now you need to keep going. And the other one would be, everything is all right in the end, and if it isn't all right, then it isn't the end. Meaning that if everything's terrible, difficult, emotional, rough for you right now, it's not over yet. There will come a time when it is over, it's finished, and you can look back on it, and it will feel different. So
wonderful. Yeah, good. Just keep going, as you said. Yeah. Nice motto.
But do take days off to feel terrible, cry, and eat ice cream. That's only normal. That's okay. But just don't stop. Just slow down for your ice cream. Don't stop.
Don't. Okay. You mean never stop. Go for it. Don't stop it. Okay. I got it.
Yeah, you can go really slow, but just don't stop.
Okay. I got it. You're late. There's a question by Lana. Have you seen that? Let me look.
Oh, it's going to disappear.
No, I can't see it.
Oh, here we go. Do you have any suggestions for online assessment in terms of preventing cheating without violating individual data of pupils? Yeah, GDPR. That's a nightmare. Make friends with somebody who's a really good programmer. Coming from a video gamer background, there are definitely ways that you can program anti-cheating in. And we have, for example, all universities use Turnitin. So you can write your essay, and you can look it up and cheat as much as you like. But as soon as you submit it, it is automatically scanned to see how close it is to other documents available. And that will mean that if you've copied someone else, it will know, and you'll automatically lose all your marks. So it makes no sense to cheat in that sense. So when you have an essay-based question, something where someone has to come up with their own opinion or their own idea, I think it's much easier for us to implement technology to use it to stop people cheating. I think what's really hard is when you have things like multiple choice and questions where there is a numerical answer, for example, like when you're doing a maths exam. And I guess the answer to that is don't write multiple multiple choice answers. At the end of the day, you've got a really high chance of people getting that right by just guessing anyway. So 25% maybe of people will just get it right by chance. So even if you want to have quite simple questions, just simplify the actual question and simplify what the answer needs to be. Don't give it to people. When we can simplify the marking by being more generous with mistakes and spelling and things like that, we don't have to make it so easy. We actually give the answer.
Great.
But yeah, it's a good point. It's much harder when it's all on paper and nobody can cheat unless they look over their shoulder to someone next to them or look on their arm. Or I mean, there were always ways to cheat. People will always find a way to cheat. But I think we need to. But for multiple choice exams, we do not have any options. Yes, that's true. And with things like IELTS, it's multiple choice. I don't get to decide how that's made. But maybe in the future they'll think about that. But I do know that in their test centres, they don't have internet connections and they have invigilators walking around watching them all the time. So it would be very difficult for them to cheat. And you can't have your mobile phone with you. But again, they're physically in the room. It's not remote. It's not from home. Well, I think we need to think about why, in our own tests, why we're offering multiple choice. What purpose is that serving? Because I don't know about anybody else, but when I see multiple choice on an exam, I think, brilliant, that'll be easy. One of them's right. And I can use my logic to work out which one it is. When I see a blank answer, I have to formulate the grammar, the vocabulary. I also have to think about the answer. It's much more difficult. I have to generate everything myself. So maybe we just have to pitch it a little bit differently if we want to take multiple choice out. And train our test takers to do things without multiple choice. Obviously, we're training them for the test they're going to get. So at the moment, we're training them for multiple choice because it makes no sense to prepare them for something they're not going to get. But anyway, the hypothesis. I'm not a test teacher, but that's my personal opinion based on my psychology and my experience.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. You're gonna thank you, Lana.
Yes, thank you very much.
Nice question. Yeah, very nice question. Okay, so my other question is about: do you think the current way of educating children fully prepares them for the needs of 21st century?
Do any of us really think that they do? How much of what you learned at school has helped you in your daily life?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's difficult because I think what this traditional schooling did for me is it made a lot of very intellectual options available to me that I would never have thought of myself. But we definitely focus way too much on academic stuff. There are people that aren't academic. It's not that they're not intelligent, they just work in a different way. They're physical, they're energetic, they're people that learn through doing, and sitting down in a classroom and just listening and shutting up and writing things down is never going to work for those people. That's a really high percentage of children. And it gets easier as we get older to focus without movement. But I really struggled with this, and that's one of the reasons why my teachers just hated teaching me, because I wasn't engaged. If it wasn't an interesting topic, I couldn't find a way to make it interesting, and then I couldn't move around, and I couldn't talk, and I couldn't express it with anybody else. We couldn't debate it. I just had to sit there in silence. And I couldn't even ask, why is it that way? What does that mean? How does that relate to other things? Because there was 30 other kids there, and they all had the same questions. And it's, I don't think it's the ideal teaching situation by any means. Can we practically do the ideal teaching situation, which would be one-to-one with everybody? That's a lot of teachers. Probably not. No. I don't know if that's possible, but there must be some way of us encouraging teaching as a profession, because there's certainly people out there that can do it. Make it more appealing and make innovation and doing things in a new way more possible and less frightening to school administrators who are always worried about, you know, Ofsted coming in and telling them that what they're doing is rubbish and they're breaking all the rules.
Right.
I also think from my own experience that we test and test and test and test and test. And all I was being taught for some years is what is going to be on the test. How does that help me? That test is one day of my life. It's not real life. It's like spending 3 years practicing how to choose a wedding dress. Well, you're only going to get married for one day. Why don't you practice how to be a married couple? Like how to have a good marriage. Why are we practicing that one day? That makes no sense. So life skills, actually going out and using your language, actually going out and using your mathematics, finding out what careers are related to that, and what you're naturally good at, and promoting that diversity in children, because everybody's different. And I hope it's different now, but when I was a child, everyone was just crammed into this little box of, we're all academic, we all love English, and we all absolutely love we all love essays, and aren't they wonderful? And anybody who wanted to look after children after school, or who wanted to be a builder or a graphic designer, was just silly, wasting their time, which is madness. So we need all of these people.
I can get.
You know, I need an architect to design my building. I don't need an English major to do that. So why are we discouraging people from doing this? It makes no sense to me. I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, wow, wonderful. That's a great answer. Thank you. Wonderful. So my other question is about, it's this. What does an educated person look like today?
Anything. Like, we used to say that somebody who's covered in tattoos isn't educated, and, you know, maybe they were a sailor. But it doesn't mean that today. It doesn't mean anything. An educated person today could have never gone to school, but was educated by their neighbor and is absolutely amazing carpenter. To me, that's educated. I do think there is something to be said for general education being accessible to people, so that we can all learn about the world that we're in, and not just the politics of where we live. And because it's very easy to get pulled along with something a bit crazy if you don't know the other side. But I don't think you can say what an educated person looks like these days. A human. We can teach dolphins to use boards to talk to us, so maybe an animal. Anything.
You are right. Yeah, yeah, maybe. Okay, so that's your opinion about educated person. So I cannot say much more about it.
I would say arms and legs, but that's not necessary either. So yeah, it's a human, a human being. Anyone.
All right. So, what do you think of the most exciting, or let's say effective learning effective environment should be?
In my opinion, okay, some of it's my opinion, but most of it is learning science, like psychology. Right. A good learning environment is an environment in which your learner feels relaxed, but not asleep. So stimulated, but, you know, happy. They feel comfortable there. Comfortable, that's a good word. And they feel like they're in a team with the person that's learning with them and the person that's teaching them. They should feel like a team, and that they're working together for the same goal. And if that involves laughter and smiling and doing things in different ways, that's even better, because you're accessing all these different parts of the brain, all these different learning methods, and you're keeping it new, you're keeping it fresh. So the new things will keep your learner from getting bored, and the working together as a team will help your learner think, okay, so maybe I've kind of lost sight of where I'm going to in the end, but I really enjoy working with this team, like a football team. We belong together, we're working together, and we're depending on one another. So that helps you to come back every week and try hard every week because you feel like you're working together.
Yes. I see. Thank you.
And physically, where that is, I don't think it matters. It's just if you can get that environment,
doesn't
good.
matter. Good. Okay, great. So my other question is, what role do you think government should play in education?
Like many people, this is the sort of thing I think about in the shower, and I had a good think about this today. And I think that it has too much influence over testing because governments love a little bit of statistics, don't they? They can go, oh, look, one of our kids are much smarter than they were last year. And that's why everyone's getting better grades all the time. And we're changing things to make them get better grades all the time. But you can't take the government out either, because we did that a little bit in England, and we gave some academies, which was a new thing, the right to make their own curriculum. And they ended up teaching really wacky stuff that was not very, well, I have to be very careful here, not very broad.
Okay.
So it's way too specific. So if we take the example of religion, I personally believe that everyone should be taught religious education. It's really important to learn about different cultures, religions, histories. It's absolutely fascinating apart from anything else, but it teaches you so much about people. And languages are like that too. If you learn another language, you're learning part of their culture. But what I think the government's really important for is to say, you cannot only do that. You also have to teach science and mathematics and this and this and this. Because if we only teach religious education or we only teach English, we are really failing people. And
I see.
I know from our experiments in England of saying, oh, it's okay, teachers know what they're doing, we'll let them do whatever they want. But some of them will go a little bit rogue and just teach one thing. And all of the children from that school are at a massive disadvantage. So we need the government there to stop us going crazy and just teaching what we want. But we also need a little bit more freedom so that we as educators and people who meet the students every day and know what they need in their lives can say, this isn't relevant anymore. People don't need to know this anymore. And hey, this is relevant and this is important. And I'm not sure that testing them every year is the way to get the best for them.
I see. I got it. Okay. Okay, Lana. Thank you. And Lana, actually, these are all my questions, and my questions are all finished. But actually, we are almost coming to the end of our session. And but before we say goodbye, what would you like to say to the whole teachers around the world?
Hi, good luck.
Hi, good luck. Yeah, that's the great. Yeah, that's the great.
I would say let's help each other. We are in competition. It's realistic. We are, because we're all trying to pay the rent and get by. But if we all get better and we all support one another, and just like all the people that have helped me get where I am today, I can help them get to where they want to get, then we all win and nobody loses. So it's tempting to compete with one another, but let's raise each other up together instead.
I see. Yes. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
Also,
okay.
Hi.
Thank you. Good luck. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much, Lana, for your time and for your experience.
You're so welcome.
And your suggestions, even if you are a little bit ill and you came here and you didn't say no, and that was really nice of you. Thank you very much. And thank you very much all other listeners and the one who joins. and the one who asked questions, and from other side of the world they come and listen. And thank you very much, all of you. And I hope we will do different things in the future, Lena. Of course, if you have time for that. I know that you are very busy about your company, and especially we are all busy these days. And
Yeah.
so if we can, yeah, if we can do it nice things in the future, I can be really happy about it. And that's all for now. And thank you very much again. And
Thank
what
you
can
so
I
much
say?
for having me,
Yeah,
and thank you everybody who came to
yes,
join us and to ask questions. Thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. And so I think we can say bye bye, and we can say take care, and see you next time. And good evening, Lana. Thank you very much for everything that you
Bye.
get to
Good
my.
evening.
Bye. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.